Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the 2023 housing year with the respect of how many buyers are out there that are going to buy homes.
The number is pretty shocking. So if you want to take a guess, just go ahead and write down in the notes what your guess is, and then we'll let you know if you're right.
Okay, we're going to put this in perspective. The hottest year ever was last year. 6 million people bought a house. Okay, so there was, at an annual rate, there was about 6 million people buying houses. In a normal year, it's 4 to 5 million, okay? The current rate is 4 million. That's the December rate of, January. There's like, if we kept going at this rate, there's about 4 million. However, that's misleading because that's looking back at interest rates when they were at the peak. Okay, so we're going to use, all the data comes from an article that was on The Hill. Survey finds Americans wildly misinformed on housing market. Okay, which is now, fortunately, those of you who watch our videos are wildly informed. You're over-informed. You have an unfair advantage over everybody else because you have all the knowledge.
And how many of you have just choked on your coffee?
Yes, yeah, you've choked on your coffee. So the first part of the article is a repeat of the headline. A new survey finds Americans are woefully misinformed about the nation's mercurial housing market, even as millions of them prepare to buy homes. So we already know it's millions, right? I thought it was an interesting choice, mercurial housing market.
Somebody learned a new word.
That is actually Shakespearean.
Yes.
Right? It comes from Romeo and Juliet, doesn't it? Okay.
And there's even a character named Mercurio, but yes.
There's a character, his name is Mercurio. Okay, so here it is. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
There are, I think the last number was like 770,000 homes available for purchase.
Okay.
There's under a million. The normal number of houses on the market at any given time historically, given the ups and downs, is about 2 million. There's about 2 million houses for people to go out and select and buy, right? Okay. Right now, there's under a million. We're at historic low amounts of houses available.
Right.
Okay. They polled people. Ready? Here we go. 28 million Americans plan to purchase a home in 2023, according to a survey released by Nerdwallet, the personal finance company. On average, they hope to spend $269,200. That's an average. Okay, so these are probably a lot of first-time home buyers.
Okay, so 28 million people. We have, let's just use round numbers. We have about 1 million houses for sale. We're going to transact about maybe 4 million, about 5 million homes at tops. 28 million. Yes, we're a couple homes short.
Yeah, we're a couple homes short. We're quite a few homes short. So this is interesting data. There's a lot of people intending to buy a house, but the low inventory will actually choke a bunch of them off. Why will that? Why is that an actual thing?
So the low inventory means that we're probably going to have sellers be back we're probably going to go back to having a seller-driven market, which means that sellers will get to choose the strongest offer. The strongest offer has more down payment money, has a better loan program, maybe it's cash. It has more money overall for the net for the seller, which means that some people are going to be priced out either based on price or based on financing. So lots of different things going on there. And so I'm not envisioning 28 new million homeowners.
Okay, one of the reasons is because of the next quote in the article. If prospective home buyers sound oddly optimistic about prices, that may be because they're pessimistic about the state of the housing market. 2/3 of Americans surveyed said they expect an imminent crash.
Okay, so if 2/3 of Americans expect an imminent crash, apparently the 1/3 that didn't get that memo are the people who want to buy a house.
I don't know, but so you have two types of people. You have people who think the housing's going to crash. And they're maybe just going to avoid the housing market. And then you have some people think that maybe they'll take advantage of it. But clearly, with interest rates already declining, inventory rapidly disappearing and not being replaced, which it does happen this year, but the rate at which inventory is declining. We just did a video where we talked about condos in Vegas, where month over month, the sale prices have started to flip.
Right, they've started to go up.
They've started to go up, and then median list price of new condos are up $20,000 from like 3 weeks ago to now.
Right, which is a lot of money. I think it was about like 8%, something like that.
And this was in the range where medium condos were like 200 grand. So like, and we're not saying that could be noise.
Right.
We don't know if it's noise or signal, but it's interesting because in zero collapsing markets where a collapse is imminent, do you have extremely low a level of inventory? Because remember what happened in 2006 that we rightly called on our radio show was that there were way too many homes on the market. This was definitely going to cause prices to drop. Interest rates were actually going down when the housing market collapsed. It was just too many houses, and the foreclosures hit, and that's what triggered it. Really, it was foreclosures.
Right. Look, I think part of it depends on context, like it does with a lot of things. I think if these numbers were maybe back in August or September, I would be more concerned and more pessimistic about them. But because we're going into spring, I don't think these numbers are noise. I think they are signal.
Yep.
Now, do I think that they're going to go up by the same percentage month over month? No, I don't. I think that this is just a foreshadowing of what's to come, which is the spring buying season where people are enthusiastically coming back, and we're going to have a good spring buying season, except that we are not going to have a lot of transactions. And it's not because of lack of buyers, but it's because of lack of inventory.
We said, you can go back and watch our videos, in the spring, October, November, December, January.
Right.
Those would be the 4 best months to buy a house from a buying perspective, because there would be a lot of inventory and you would have choices. Forget the interest rate. You would have you would be able to go out there, pick a house, not have multiple offers, negotiate some maybe credits toward your, getting your interest rate reduced or something like that, or some other things. I'm sorry if you are just tuning in the channel and you missed out on the thing. Now, what do the professionals, not the YouTubers, but actual economists think about home price imminent collapses? So real estate economists do not believe there will be a crash. Lawrence Yun, chief economist for NAR, forecasts an average sale price of $385,800 this year, which is the same as it was last year, beginning of the year, right? So he's predicting that home prices will stay the same. Redfin, a whopping 4% drop. That's not great for sellers, even if it did drop 4%, but it's not a crash. And Oana, okay, let's say worst case, let's say housing drops 4%. What does that mean for someone who buys a house today? Their home is worth 4% less than a year ago, but what has happened in that year? What have they done? They paid off some of their mortgage, right?
Right. Look, you've gotten the tax benefits, so the government has been subsidizing your mortgage payment.
Tax benefit.
Right. You've been paying down your principal balance.
Principal reduction.
So that means that you've been gaining equity, and best of all, which I think is best of all, you get to live in your own house.
What about the income tax deduction for mortgage?
Well, I already said that because.
Oh, that was taxes.
Well, that was mortgage interest deduction and property tax.
I'm going to call it four benefits.
Fine, 4. But the point is that at the end of the day, you got to live in your own house, and you are paying your own mortgage payment, not your landlord's mortgage payment. I say this all the time. Everybody has to live somewhere, and everybody's paying somebody's mortgage payment, where you're paying your own or your landlord's, and I preference paying your own mortgage payment.
Okay, here's another quote from the article. Another head scratcher. 61% of Americans told pollsters current mortgage rates are unprecedented, meaning they have never been seen before. We've never seen this 6-point-something%. That's ridiculous.
Which is absolutely true, because if they were born in the last 8 years, they're right.
Yes, and if you're from the 70s, if you time traveled from the 70s and you were told interest rates were the highest that they've ever been, people would immediately say, well, they must be in the 20s.
Right.
Right?
Or even in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Or in the 2000s. I mean, look, this interest rates somewhere in the range of 6 to 7% have traditionally been considered fantastic interest rates.
Okay, here we go. The average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage hit 6.15% last week. According to the Fed, that's higher than most mortgage rates of the past few years, which is true, which have ranged below 3% at times, but it's not unprecedented. Over the last 50 years, Nerdwallet reports 30-year mortgage rates have averaged 7.75%. Mortgage rates in the 6 to 7% range were come as recently as 2008. We did a whole video on this with the Fed. We came up with like 7.5%. Was the median 50-year rate for mortgage, we're below that and decreasing.
Right.
Like rates are not unprecedented. They're totally within what a normal interest rate would be on a house.
Well, and they're not exorbitant either. I mean, please consider that. They're not exorbitant. When you consider the interest rate that you pay for a car loan or for a credit card or for a personal loan, 6% interest rates are actually very reasonable.
The survey found more realism when asking respondents how their home buying plans had panned out in 2022. 70% of Americans who had planned to buy a home in 2022 did not succeed. Some of them made offers that were not accepted. Others shelved their plans because they couldn't find affordable homes. Is that likely to happen this year too? Do you think all 28 million will get to buy a house this year?
I can't imagine how that would happen when there are not 28 million homes. There aren't even, at best, we're going to end up with maybe 4 million homes, 4.5 million homes in 2023.
Right. They're just not people selling.
Right.
Like the bottom problem with housing is not enough demand. It's not enough supply. It's not enough people wanting to sell. The housing crasher scared some people in the summer to list their homes. And a lot of them did. But then they said, you know what? I'll just take it off the market. And that's what we've seen over the last 2 months. Inventory in Vegas has dropped 20% in 2 months.
Right. And, I look at it depending on the price point. And I've said this before, in the two bottom quartiles of price points, these homes are going to sell like hotcakes. That's not really the issue. The next one up, that 3/4 one, I think that's going to be the interesting one to watch. I'm really interested to see what they do. And in the top price point, meaning the luxury homes, those homes are super interesting because those homes tend to be cash purchases.
Okay.
So they're not necessarily interest rate driven in the sense that people can't purchase them because of the high interest rates. I think maybe perhaps people are choosing to do other things with their money,
right,
rather than put them in these homes. And then on the selling end, I'm not seeing in that top price point those people having price reductions because their homes are paid off. Okay. They don't have loans on them. They're not really subject to the whims of the market. And their position is, hey, if I sell it for this, great. If I don't, that's okay. I'll wait until the market catches up with me. Okay.
To the 28 million people that are thinking of buying, congratulations. We think that, homeowner, especially if you're a first-time homeowner, you're watching our video, you're learning, at least you're trying to understand what's going on. You will be set up for the understanding that you will likely not, like the 70% who didn't get a house last year, you probably won't be successful because there's not enough homes and you're just going to be outbid and multiple offers. Unfortunately, the housing collapse that you're waiting for, so prices would drop substantially lower, is not going to happen either. And what else?
So if you're a home seller, please consider using our services because clearly we need your inventory. So you have something that others would like. This
is a shameless plug. Even if you don't want to sell, you should sell. So some other person could take over your equity and then have it grow for the next 20 years instead of you just getting filthy rich from real estate because you're already rich. You're just going to get filthy rich over the next 10 to 20 years. And you should be generous enough to cash out and let some other person take over that amazing wealth appreciating vehicle known as your rental house or the house you live in or whatever.
There you go. If you would tell Todd off in the comments, be my guest.
There you go. They're totally. I'm going to get racked in. This is going to be bad. I'm going to get racked in. I may turn off commenting for this post. For this video.
But in all seriousness, we do want to know what you're thinking. Leave us comments and tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what your crystal ball says about 2023 as far as home buyers experience and home sellers experience. We would like to hear what you think. If you have suggestions for our videos, we welcome them. So please leave us suggestions and we will do our best to accommodate you. If you liked the video, if it made you laugh, if it informed you, please, like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.